Hello and welcome. Today, we're diving into the extraordinary life of one of history's most iconic monarchs, Queen Elizabeth I. Her story is a blockbuster epic, complete with family drama, political intrigue, and a golden age of culture and power. So let's travel back to Tudor England and uncover the life of the legendary Virgin Queen. Our story begins with a childhood that was anything but a fairy tale. Born on September 7, 1533, Elizabeth was the daughter of the infamous King Henry VIII and his second wife, the captivating Anne Boleyn. For a brief moment, her birth was celebrated. But in the cutthroat world of the Tudor court, fortunes could change in an instant. When Elizabeth was just 2.5 years old, her world was shattered. Her mother, Anne Boleyn, was accused of treason and executed. It was a shocking and brutal fall from grace. To make matters worse, Henry VIII had his marriage to a declared invalid. Overnight, young Elizabeth was stripped of her title as princess, declared illegitimate, and removed from the line of succession. Imagine being a toddler and having your entire identity erased by your own father. This early trauma set the stage for a precarious youth. She was no longer the cherished heir, but a political pawn in a dangerous game. She lived in the shadows, her future uncertain. After her father's death, her younger half-brother, Edward VI, a devout Protestant, took the throne. His reign was short, and upon his death, the country was plunged into a succession crisis. Elizabeth's older half-sister, Mary I, a staunch Catholic, became queen. This was perhaps the most dangerous period of Elizabeth's life. Mary, known to history as Bloody Mary for her persecution of Protestants, saw Elizabeth as a threat. As a prominent Protestant figure, Elizabeth became a magnet for plots and conspiracies against Mary's rule. Though there was no concrete evidence that Elizabeth was involved, Mary's paranoia grew. Elizabeth was arrested and imprisoned in the dreaded Tower of London, the very same place where her mother had met her end. Every day, she must have feared that the same fate awaited her. Can you imagine the mental fortitude it would take to survive that? Yet, Elizabeth did more than survive. She endured. She navigated the treacherous political waters with incredible caution and intelligence, always proclaiming her loyalty to her sister while carefully avoiding any traps. Despite the constant danger and instability, Elizabeth received a first-class education. She was a brilliant student, mastering multiple languages, including Latin, Greek, French, and Italian. She studied history, philosophy, and theology, developing a sharp political mind that would become her greatest weapon. Her difficult childhood didn't break her, it forged her. It taught her resilience, patience, and the art of survival. These were lessons she would carry with her to the throne. In 1558, Queen Mary died childless, and at the age of 25, Elizabeth's moment finally arrived. The forgotten, illegitimate daughter ascended to the throne of England. Church bells rang out across London, and the people celebrated, hopeful for a new era of peace and stability. But the kingdom she inherited was a mess. England was deeply divided by religion, with bitter tensions between Catholics and Protestants. The treasury was nearly empty, and the nation was weak on the international stage. Many doubted that a young woman could handle such a monumental task. One of Elizabeth's first and most brilliant moves was to tackle the religious question head-on. She devised what is known as the Elizabethan religious settlement. It was a masterpiece of compromise. She established the Church of England as Protestant in doctrine, satisfying the reformers, but kept some of the familiar Catholic rituals and structures, like bishops and ornate robes. This middle way, or via media, was designed to unify the nation. It didn't please the extremists on either side, but for the majority of her people, it brought a welcome end to the religious bloodshed that had plagued the country. This act alone showed her incredible political savvy. She understood that stability was more important than dogmatic purity. Now, let us talk about one of the most famous aspects of her reign, her status as the Virgin Queen. From the moment she took the throne, the question of who she would marry was on everyone's lips. Her council, her parliament, and foreign rulers all expected her to marry and produce an heir to secure the Tudor dynasty. But Elizabeth had other ideas. She had seen how marriage could be a trap for a female ruler. She saw how her sister Mary's marriage to King Philip II of Spain had been deeply unpopular and had dragged England into foreign conflicts. Elizabeth cleverly turned her unmarried status into a powerful diplomatic tool. For decades, she dangled the prospect of marriage in front of various European princes and kings. This kept them all vying for her favor, preventing them from forming alliances against England. She was, in her own words, married to my kingdom. By remaining single, she kept her authority absolute. There would be no king to challenge her power or foreign influence to sway her decisions. It was a bold and unprecedented strategy, and it worked. She maintained her independence and her control, proving that a queen could rule just as effectively, if not more so, than any king. Under her strong and stable leadership, England entered what is now known as its Golden Age. This was a period of incredible national pride, cultural flourishing, and growing international power. Perhaps the most dramatic moment of her reign came in 1588 with the threat of the Spanish Armada. King Philip II of Spain, her former brother-in-law and wartime suitor, was determined to overthrow Elizabeth and restore Catholicism to England. He assembled the largest naval fleet the world had ever seen to invade the island nation. It was England's darkest hour. The small English navy seemed no match for the mighty Spanish Armada. But Elizabeth rose to the occasion. In a now legendary moment, she traveled to Tilbury to address her troops. Dressed in a silver breastplate over a white velvet gown, she delivered one of the most inspiring speeches in English history. She told her soldiers, "I know I have the body of a weak and feeble woman, but I have the heart and stomach of a king, and of a king of England too." Her words electrified the nation. Through a combination of clever tactics, unfavorable weather, the famous Protestant wine, and sheer English grit, the invincible Armada was defeated. It was a stunning victory. It secured England's independence, cemented its status as a major naval power, and was seen as a sign of God's favor for the Protestant cause. The defeat of the Armada is one of the most celebrated events in English history, and it was a defining moment of Elizabeth's reign. But the Golden Age wasn't just about military victories. It was a time of unparalleled cultural brilliance. This was the age of William Shakespeare, whose plays revolutionized theater and the English language itself. It was the era of Christopher Marlowe's powerful dramas and Edmund Spenser's epic poetry. Music and the arts thrive under the Queen's patronage. The Elizabethan era became synonymous with the renaissance of English culture, leaving a legacy that we still cherish today. The spirit of a confident and ambitious England also extended to the seas. Elizabeth encouraged exploration and trade, sponsoring daring navigators like Sir Francis Drake, who circumnavigated the globe, and Sir Walter Raleigh, who sought to establish colonies in the New World. These voyages expanded England's influence, brought back immense wealth, and laid the foundations for what would eventually become the vast British Empire. Elizabeth's reign transformed England from a relatively minor player on the European stage into a burgeoning global power. Elizabeth ruled for 44 years, a remarkable feat in an age when life was often short and reigns were unstable. She guided her country through religious strife, foreign threats, and internal conspiracies. She never married and left no direct heir, so with her death on March 24th, 1603, the Tudor dynasty came to an end. The crown passed to her cousin, James VI of Scotland, who became James I of England, uniting the two kingdoms. But Elizabeth's legacy was secure. She left behind a nation that was more unified, prosperous, and confident than ever before. She had proven that a woman could rule with wisdom, courage, and political genius. She is remembered not just as the Virgin Queen, but as Gloriana, a symbol of a golden age. Her intelligence, determination, and unwavering dedication to her people allowed her to overcome every obstacle, transforming England and shaping the course of history. Her reign remains one of the most studied and admired in all of history, a testament to the power of one truly extraordinary leader. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the life of Queen Elizabeth I. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into fascinating historical figures. Let me know in the comments who you'd like to learn about next. See you in the next video.